Hey, brother. Are you struggling and suffering because of your relationship with alcohol? Yeah, me too. I've been there. But what if I told you that alcohol wasn't the real problem? What if I told you that we all have two problems, and alcohol and other addictive substances are the symptom of the first real problem? What if I told you that alcohol and other unhealthy habits are the painkiller that we reach for to numb and distract ourselves from facing the real problem, which is facing the pain of the unloved self? What if I told you that if we can dare to turn inward and do the work necessary to heal from some of the wounds that we've been carrying, that we can become healthier physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? And when we release some of the pain and tension that we've been carrying, when we release and heal some of the wounds that we've been holding inside of us, we can become free of the compulsion to want to poison ourselves with alcohol and other unhealthy addictions. My name is Ed Hegan. I'm a former New York City firefighter, and I'm a mindfulness, meditation, and breathwork coach. And I teach people how to deal with stress and find inner peace by understanding their emotions and learning to regulate their nervous system. And over the years of being a firefighter, I've taken on so much stress and trauma from some of the work and service that I participated in. And I've seen so many of the men and women that I work with also carry the burdens of these heavy wounds. And it's great that we're taught how to show up to help people in their time of need. But when we work in fields of service where we take on extraordinary amounts of stress, no one teaches us how to manage and mitigate and deal with that stress. And so we can oftentimes find ourselves in a situation where we have accumulation of stress over the course of years or even decades, and we don't know how to release it. So we look for relief through the bottle, through other addictions, and we can be addicted to anything. You can be addicted to work, making money, food, relationships, overthinking, you name it. So when we start to recognize that certain addictions cause more problems than others, we might have to address it. And alcohol is one of those things that is a neurotoxin, and it's highly poisonous and addictive. And so if we're not dealing with the stress that's accumulating inside our body and our soul and our heart, it can actually make us physically sick. And so if we address the core wound and do the inner work necessary to release and let go of some of the stress that we've been carrying, we oftentimes feel that we don't have a need or a compulsion to want to numb and distract ourselves from that pain, because we've figured out healthy ways to face that pain, to deal with it, to release it and let it go. But nobody ever teaches us this stuff. So it's up to us to really figure it out. And I'll tell you a little bit about my own personal journey and why I make this content. And it's because I really didn't understand any of these things. And maybe if you're struggling with alcohol or other addictions, you turn to AA or Al-Anon or Smart Recovery, and that's great, and you should. You should continue to do the work necessary to make yourself healthy and heal from some of the pain you've been carrying. I mean, we all want relief from the pain. We all want to feel better, but we don't want to destroy our health in the process, which is what alcohol was doing to me. It was destroying my health. And I realized I had a problem when I couldn't control my drinking. And what that means for me is that I had attempted on several occasions to control my drinking, meaning I was just going to go out and have a few or a couple. And I found that to be problematic. So I would set out with the intention to not overdo it, not overindulge, not drink to the point where it would be dangerous. But the person that's speaking to you right now I myself, right in this moment, I have no desire to drink. But if I have a drink or two or three, I'm fundamentally a changed person. I'm chemically altered. My brain chemistry is different because it's under the influence of alcohol. And that thing that tells me don't have drink 4, 5, and 6 is gone. And the new version of me is like, well, if 2 made you feel good, then 4 will make you feel better, and 8 will make you feel amazing. And now I'm just dealing with a chemically altered brain with the inability to know when to say when. And although I tried on multiple occasions to control my drinking, I failed every time. And a lot of the reason is because I was carrying a lot of pain and trauma from my personal and professional life. And until I turned to face that, I wasn't able to really reconcile some of the reasons why I was using alcohol to numb myself and use it as a painkiller. But it did start to spill out over into the rest of my life, affecting my physical, mental, and emotional well-being, destroying some relationships, and really causing a lot of regret and pain in my life, besides robbing me of my health and my vitality. And so when I came to the realization that alcohol was taking more from me than it was giving me, I realized I had to make a change. And that meant learning to do the inner work. And for me, meditation and breath work was something that was really helpful for me to just sit with the pain, sit with some of the discomfort of some of the things that I've been holding on to in my body. And when I started to face what was going on in my heart, it was uncomfortable, but it wasn't nearly as painful as the negative effects created by consuming alcohol on a regular basis. And I want to reiterate that so you understand me. Facing the pain can be painful, but facing the emotions of feeling unloved, unwanted, unworthy, or the core wounds of abandonment and neglect, it can feel painful, but it's not as painful as the damaging effects that addiction to alcohol has on us. So I'm telling you that because I don't want you to be afraid of the journey. I want you to realize that if you take control over your well-being and realize that you want something better for yourself, you'll be willing to sit through the pain. So it may be uncomfortable for you to imagine what it would feel like to sit with your wounded inner child, or to relive some of the sadness of the abandonment and neglect and feelings of unworthiness and being unloved that you feel. That can be painful, but I want you to know that it's not as painful as some of the things that addiction can bring into our lives. So just know that we're going to go through pain and suffering in this life either way. The question is, what kind of pain are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the pain of addiction? Are you going to choose the pain of having this substance, this toxic chemical, control your health and well-being? Or are you going to face the pain of the internal feelings that you've been holding on to for years and decades, and recognize that if you face that pain, if you release and let go of and heal the wounds that you've been carrying for years and decades, that not only will you feel a relief from some of the tension and stress you've been carrying, but you'll also feel less of a compulsion and a desire to pick up that bottle or to reach for any painkiller to numb and distract yourself from the real feelings you're feeling. And this is a way to live more authentically, to live more truthfully and more honestly with yourself. Being able to be brave enough and courageous enough to want to be a better person. So it's really an inner journey, a personal pilgrimage that you go on of the heart and soul to address some of the wounds that we all carry. And you're not alone in this. Please understand that everybody we encounter on a life path is carrying these wounds. The problem is nobody ever taught us how to deal with them. Nobody ever taught us what it means to face ourselves and to address some of these core wounds and to heal from some of the feelings of the unloved self, of feeling abandoned, overlooked, neglected, unloved, or feelings that we're just not worthy enough. And so if we can address these wounds ourselves, we can heal and let go and release of some of the things that have been holding us back in life. And this allows us to live up to greater potential. This allows us to become better versions of ourselves. And this really, when you look at it, this is the gift that we give to the world. Because when we can take the time to do the work necessary to become a better version of ourselves, we get to show up in our world as that better version of ourselves. We get to show up as better mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, friends, lovers, all the things. Even in our professional world, when you think about it, if you're a first responder or you work in service and people depend on you to show up, how do you want to show up? Fried nervous system, dehydrated, bloated, addicted? Or do you want to show up grounded, relaxed, regulated, prepared to handle the challenges and know that you can handle anything life throws at you? And when you clearly see that alcohol and other addictions kind of robs us of this ability to be the best version of ourselves, it may become clear to you that maybe it's time to make a change. But we also have to realize that no one's coming to save us. That we are the adults now. And that the core foundation of this wound is something that was formed when we were very young. And in order for us to really do the work necessary to heal the unloved self, we have to do some inner child work. We have to sit with the pain of the unloved self from the time that we were very young. And we have to reparent this inner child. We have to recognize that now as adults, it's our responsibility to treat ourselves, to care for ourselves, and to offer ourselves the love, compassion, kindness, acceptance that we always wanted, but most oftentimes we weren't given. And it also involves forgiveness, because we have to recognize that the people that raised us, our mothers, fathers, or maybe if you didn't have a mother or father, whoever was in charge of taking care of you, they oftentimes did not have the skills or the tools necessary to love you and guide you and give you the support necessary for you to feel loved and cared for and accepted. And that's not because they were necessarily bad people. They may have been. I'm not trying to justify or excuse any kind of abuse or neglect. But oftentimes the people that took care of us were doing the best they could with what they had at the time. And so part of our healing journey is to actually recognize that as long as we continue to blame other people for our problems, we give away our power. And when we give away our power, we lose some of the ability to face and confront these wounds ourselves. So if we take responsibility and we say, hey, the way that you raised me, the choices you made, I needed more support and love as a child, but for us as adults now to forgive that is a way for us to take back our power. And in that way we can have compassion for the ways in which we were raised, and we can have compassion for ourselves. And this is the beginning of a new relationship with ourselves and with other people, where we take ownership of the things that are going on in our heart and soul, and we take responsibility for our healing journey. And I know this sounds like a lot, and it may sound new to some people to think about having this wounded inner child inside of them and to not understand what it means to try to reparent ourselves. But what I want to do is drop into a meditation where we can see what it looks like to simply sit with the pain. And if you're interested in going on this healing journey, you can send me a DM, or you can sign up for a free discovery call at edwoodstock.com. And I can guide you through the process. But I'd also like you to think about what it means to simply watch this video, to sit with yourself, to face the pain of the unloved self, to do the inner work necessary to heal the wounded inner child, to release some of the pain that we've been carrying for years and decades, and to begin the process of feeling our feelings so we feel less of a need to reach out for toxic and addictive substances, and we can instead heal the wound from a core foundational level and reduce our need to participate in unhealthy behaviors. And this is a way for us to learn to love ourselves, to practice self-care, and to drop our addictions and become better versions of ourselves. So we're going to drop into a meditation, and I hope you can find some peace and calm in your day, turn inward, face the primary problem, and begin the process of freeing yourself from some of the pain of the addiction that you've been carrying for a long time now, because you deserve it, and the world deserves to have the best version of you. So let's start by finding a quiet space to sit or lay down. It doesn't have to be anywhere special. It doesn't have to be in nature. It can be in a car, in a room, or anywhere that you feel comfortable and undisturbed for a little while. You don't have to know how to meditate or breathe in any special way. You don't have to have your chakras aligned with your kundalini. You can simply find a quiet, relaxing space to be undisturbed for the next little while. And we want to begin by connecting with ourselves, our bodies, the present moment, and each other. So let's start by taking a few grounding breaths. And what we want to do is we want to breathe into the belly using the diaphragm. And that simply means we want to draw our belly button away from our spine using the diaphragm to pull down and draw the breath in. Instead of using the chest to suck air in, we want to draw the breath down. And this puts us into a more relaxed state. And from this state of relaxation, we can learn how to switch our body from being in these states of fight or flight, of hypervigilance, into a more relaxed mode of rest and digest. So let's begin by exhaling all the air out of our lungs. Breathe in slowly through the nose and fill your belly. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release. Inhale slowly through the nose. Fill your belly. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly exhale. Breathe in slowly through the nose, reminding yourself, I am safe. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing any stress or tension. Breathe in slowly through the nose, filling your belly, reminding yourself, I am loved and safe. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly release. Now continue to breathe slowly into the belly. You don't have to focus so much on the breathing. Just try to continue in that pattern of breathing deeply and recognizing that right now we are not looking at our phones, we're not doom scrolling, we're not reaching for any kind of relief, we're not looking to numb and distract and avoid our feelings, but we are simply sitting here and allowing the open space for whatever comes up to come up. And as you sit, you may notice already that your monkey mind may start jumping around. You may want to shut this off. You may want to reach out for something. You may want to just avoid the discomfort of feeling certain things that arise when you simply sit with yourself and you do not engage in any form of distraction. And what you'll notice is that if you want to create more safety in your body, you can use the power of the 5 senses to simply ask yourself, what am I seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling? And as we become more present, more connected to the body, more connected to the present moment, you may notice certain things come up. And you can even start to scan your body. You can start with your head. Is there any tension in my crown, in the temples, in my jaw, in my face? And you could even rock it out, stretch it out. Am I feeling any tightness or tension in my throat, my neck, my chest, my shoulders, my arms and hands, my chest, my core, my belly? Oh, there's a bee on me. Stay still. Feel the discomfort of the bee. Sorry if that's disturbing to you guys, but we have to sometimes just face the distractions that we have and try to stay calm and grounded even when there's a bee buzzing in our face. And we can continue to feel what we feel in our chest, in our belly, in our groin, in our hips, in our legs, in our calves, in our shins, on our feet. And we can come back up through our legs, into our groin, our hips. And we can spend some time in around the belly. Do we feel any kind of nervousness, tightness, tension in our core, in our belly, in our chest? Do we feel any tension? Do we feel any nervousness? Maybe it's some butterflies. What are we feeling? Can we name the feeling? Is it sadness? Is it grief? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Simply sit with it and notice where in our bodies we feel our emotions. Don't connect to any story about it. Don't tell yourself the story about why you feel this way because he or she did this or that happened to me when I was younger, or I experienced that. Don't do that. Go below. So those are just the wave tops. Imagine it like the ocean. Those are just the wave tops. And there's always some stormy waves up top. Sink below the waves. Go a little bit below the surface, a few feet below. Keep dropping below and get to the deeper aspects of the emotion beneath the story. Not the story itself. What is the feeling behind the story? Tap into that. Sit with those feelings. Sadness, guilt, shame, regret, loneliness, fear. And simply continue to breathe in, reminding yourself that you are safe and whole and loved. And continue to exhale any stress or tension that you're carrying and holding on to. Continue to breathe and just scan the body. And notice where you're carrying any tension or tightness. And as you breathe in loving acceptance of that feeling. exhale any tension or stress that you're carrying. You can even just breathe in loving kindness, attention to the spots where you're feeling a little tightness or tension, any kind of nervousness, any feelings of dread or fear, and simply just feel those feelings. Just allow yourself to be with those feelings. You don't need to get rid of them. They are not your enemy. They are simply gifts and lessons that are showing us where we're not free. These emotions are simply giving us the gift of showing us where we need to do the inner work to focus our attention on the areas where we're holding stress and tension, to tend to those parts of ourselves, to heal those parts of ourselves, and to release some of the stress and tension that we've been carrying as a result of wounds that we've been carrying for years or even decades sometimes. And simply continue to breathe and recognize that you are not your wounds. You are not your emotions. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness of those thoughts and emotions. That the addictions that we have, that our desire to numb and distract does not make us bad. We're not bad people because we are looking for relief from the pain. We are simply looking to not feel the pain of the shame and the fear and feeling unloved and unwanted and incomplete. And when we realize that we've been spending so much of our lives seeking relief, validation, love, and acceptance outside of ourselves, when we don't feel these feelings, we can internalize that as if there's something wrong with us, that we're broken, that we are fundamentally unworthy of love and affection and acceptance. And this simply is not true. But no one's going to come along and save us, so it's up to us to do the inner work necessary to reparent this inner child. So now imagine this inner child. If it helps, you can close your eyes. You can put your hand on your belly or your heart or both. And you can simply imagine this young child inside your mind's eye. Maybe he or she is 4 or 8 or 12, whatever age you feel like you've taken on some of these wounds. And I want you to get low and look this child directly in the eyes. Put your hands on their shoulders and draw them in close to you and look at them and say to them, "You're safe. I got you now. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to love you. You are worthy. You are whole. You are complete. You are loved. You are cared for. You are safe. And you don't need to carry the things that you've been carrying. You don't need to feel bad. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. And you are whole and complete, just as you are. You always have been, and you always will be. And my job now is to remind you of that anytime you're ever feeling like you're not enough. And as you continue to breathe and just spend some time with the energy of this wounded inner child, things may start to come up. You may start to feel sadness. You may start to feel some connection to the parts of yourself that we've learned to ignore, and some of the feelings that we've learned to repress and suppress and numb and distract ourselves from. because they've been too painful to feel. But when we start to recognize that the pain of living an unhealthy life has been destroying our health and well-being, we recognize that this turn inward towards ourselves is a deep act of love and compassion for ourselves. And in this way, we are tending to the needs of the child in a way that no one else was able to when we were younger. And in this way, we become the version of ourselves that we always needed when we were kids. And in this way, we recognize and release the responsibility of our caretakers, knowing that they did the best they could with what they had, even if it wasn't good enough, that they did the best they could with what they had at the time. And we release and forgive them. Why? Not to excuse any wrongdoing, but to free ourselves, to take our power back and recognize that it's our responsibility to show up for ourselves, that it's our responsibility to go on this healing journey, and that it's within our power to stand in the truth and the light and the fullness of who we are as adults now, to face those wounds, to heal those wounds, and become the version of us that we needed when we were kids. And as you continue to breathe, just remind yourself that the addictions that we carry, that our desire to be free from the pain, there's nothing wrong with that. You're not broken. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's no regret, resentment that we need to carry around anymore. That we are free to turn inward at any time, to connect with ourselves, to connect with the present moment, to release the stress and tension we've been carrying, and to free ourselves from the tension and the wounds that have been holding us back from feeling the freedom of living in a more light, easy, and healthier way. And when we feel this ease of tension, when we feel this release of stress, we can also notice that maybe there's a time that we were tempted to reach out and numb ourselves, to use whatever addictive substance that we feel brings us relief. And maybe today we're just sitting with a little more tension. Maybe today we're just facing the stress a little bit longer and breathing through it and releasing it. And we have to have patience with ourselves. These wounds were accumulated over a lifetime, over many years and decades. So we have to give ourselves some time to relearn how to deal with these stressors and how to deal with this pain. And just like when we go to the gym, it's not like we do one rep or go to the gym one time and we're healthy. It's not like eating one meal makes us healthy. It's the cumulative effect of doing the work on a regular basis that we notice over time less of a need and a desire to want to numb out and distract ourselves or to engage with unhealthy habits. And this is a process. It takes time. But I'm proud of you for beginning this journey of facing the pain, of breathing deeply, of releasing what no longer belongs to you, and freeing yourself from some of the wounds you've been carrying, and being courageous enough to face that pain, to face the addiction, to want to become a better version of yourself, and to become the version of yourself that you needed when you were younger. And in this way, you're breaking the cycles of toxic and unhealthy behavior. In this way, you are healing yourself in a really powerful way. And you're giving yourself the gift of freedom, health, and wholeness by showing up for yourself and reminding yourself that you are whole and complete, just as you are. You always have been. You always will be. And as you continue to breathe deeply, be gentle with yourself. Be proud of yourself. Be supportive of yourself. Be mindful of that inner dialogue that can often say toxic things to you. And be sure to practice the love, compassion, and acceptance that you needed when you were a child. And as you continue to fill yourself with this love, compassion, forgiveness, and understanding, you then get to share that with other people in the world. And that is the gift that we give to ourselves and that we share with each other. So I hope this meditation and this story and understanding about addiction helps you to confront some of your own issues. And I hope that you realize that no one is coming to save you. That although some of the pain you've been carrying is not your fault, it is your responsibility to do the work to fix it.